Welcome to our news updates. As Florida Governor Ron DeSantis filmed pork chops in front of cameras at the Iowa State Fair on Saturday, a plane appeared out of the blistering blue sky. It was Donald Trump's Boeing 757 private jet. He circled the fairgrounds, and thousands of people in the crowd looked up and wildly cheered the former Republican president. An hour later, Trump arrived at a rock star reception in a motorcade from nearby Des Moines Airport, stealing the spotlight from DeSantis and relegating his closest rival for the Republican presidential nomination to a supporting cast in one of the most important political events in the USA political calendar. Before we continue, please support us by clicking on the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for more updates. It was a moment that encapsulated the state of the 2024 Republican presidential nomination race. Trump is leading the way in statewide polls, eclipsing the governor of Florida and the rest of the field, who as yet do not know how they can lower this value gap. The Iowa State Fair is a must-attend political event for presidential candidates in the Midwestern state and opens the race for the Republican nomination in January. But with Trump leading the likely Republican primary in a Reuters Ipsos poll on August 3rd, by 34 percentage points over DeSantis and the rest of the voters falling in the single digits, this year's fair felt like a crowning glory rather than a beauty pageant. Despite Trump's legal troubles, he has been charged 3 times this year and could face a 4th charge this week in Georgia. He has one of the largest leads in primary polls in U.S. election history. No candidate in modern history has had such a large lead and lost the nomination in a hard-fought primary. Meanwhile, DeSantis has made 2 personnel changes in the past 3 weeks and has sunk in the polls as he desperately tries to refocus his campaign. As Trump walked from the pork chop shop to the Steer & Stein bar to give a speech, surrounded by supporters shouting, "We love you, Trump," a reporter asked him about DeSantis. "He's doing very, very badly in the polls. He should actually be out of the race," Trump said. Sarah Longwell, a Republican strategist opposed to the Trump nomination, has held focus groups with Republican voters throughout the year. In the last 2 weeks, he had not a single person mentioned DeSantis. When asked directly about Florida's governor in recent focus groups, one voter called him sneaky. Another called him another normal politician. A third said it was part of the deep state, a term conspiracy theorists often use to refer to members of the government they believe are secretly working to manipulate national politics. DeSantis is on a death spiral, Longwell said. DeSantis spokesman Brian Griffin told Reuters that the Republican race is being fought between Trump and DeSantis, who is the only candidate in the race who can beat Joe Biden and implement the agenda we need to reverse this country's decline. Reducing Trump's leaders. As for the rest of the Republican field, Longwell said it's hard to imagine how any of them could get Trump. There's a narrow path for anyone to beat the former president, but her. You have to make a splash and finish first or second in Iowa to make it a 2-person race, and people like it, to convince them that they are more likely to participate, he said. At the state fair, the uphill battle to catch up to Trump was made clear by the 90-degree Fahrenheit, 32-degree Celsius heat, skewered pork chops, fried cream-filled Twinkies, foot-long corn dogs, and an event staple, a life-size cow sculpted in butter. In a dozen interviews with constituents, Reuters found that the majority liked DeSantis, but not enough to support him over Trump. "I like what DeSantis did in Florida, but I want Trump, a businessman, to run the country. I want Trump to get a second term. It's been great for our economy. It will reduce the size of government." DeSantis. "I can walk next time," said George Nucky, 67. "I'm always Trump." Though DeSantis had to speak to half a dozen women's rights protesters who blew whistles and hoisted a banner that read, "Be nice, Ron," under an airplane. The governor of Florida has a reputation for being a timber activist. Trump came with Secret Service agents and sniffer dogs everywhere. The crowd was huge. About 2,000 people were waiting to see him. Chris Jackson, a pollster at polling firm Ipsos, which conducts polls for Reuters and other media organizations, said the primary currently looks like a crowning glory for Trump. But Jackson warned that could change, especially as Trump's legal troubles escalate. Primary voters could still worry about Trump's eligibility in a general election, Jackson said, and wake up and maybe think the emperor is naked. Thanks for watching. Let us know your view in the comments section.